Right, today we are going to discuss in detail thalamus. As all of you know, that thalamus is part of diencephalon. Thalamus is the largest component of diencephalon, right? And most of you must have watched the videos of diencephalon. So, who will tell me the components of diencephalon? Of course, one component is thalamus, which is also called dorsal thalamus, right? What are the other components of diencephalon? So you are going to tell me thalamus, hypothalamus, epithalamus, subthalamus, and okay, let me tell you. If you draw the, now you know the structure, but let me draw it. Here are your friends, which we are going to discuss into detail. Yes, what is it? Thalami, right? And from here to here, what is this structure here? Hypothalamus. And under the hypothalamus, anterior pituitary, yes. Posterior pituitary. And what is this structure? Median eminence and tuber cinereum. And what is this structure? Mammillary body. One on right, another on the left side. Is that right? And here is your, oh my God, markers are going away. Okay. And what is the structure here? Midbrain, pons and medulla. Right? Remember, midbrain is not the part of diencephalon. Right? Diencephalon is above the midbrain. Right? And what are the structures here? Superior colliculi and inferior colliculi. Right? What is the structure here? Third ventricle. And now you will tell me what is the structure here? Pineal gland. And what is this? Habenular nucleus, habenular nucleus, and habenular commissure. Now, and you will tell me what are these very special structures with a different color I will draw. Lateral geniculate body and medial geniculate body. And lateral geniculate body and medial geniculate body. Now actually all these structures which are shown there are making diencephalon, except one thing is missing still. What is that thing? Yes, subthalamus. And where is subthalamus? Subthalamus is exactly here. Under the thalamus is a sheet of grey matter. Right? This is subthalamus. So this is basically your diencephalon. Again, the largest part of diencephalon are these two very big masses of grey matter. These are the masses of grey matter which are called dorsal thalami. Then from the both thalami, sheet of grey matter is moving forward, and this is making hypothalamus. Right? Thalamus, hypothalamus. Then under the thalamus there is subthalamus, and behind the thalamus there are structures which are called epithalamus, which consists of two habenular nuclei and one pineal body and habenular nuclei commissure. Right? And thalamus also has attached with it lateral geniculate body and medial geniculate body. Right? So all these structures, right, these are called diencephalon. And of course, there is a little more structures from diencephalon. What is that?
Well, you're missing the posterior commissure, right?
But yes, I did not draw here posterior commissure, but posterior commissure is not the part of diencephalon, right? Yes, there is something else I'm missing in the diagram which is derived from diencephalon. There's something else which is missing from this diagram, and that is also derived from diencephalon. Last time also you forget in the last lecture. You remember there was something called optic nerves, optic chiasma, optic tracts. They are also derived from diencephalon. So really to complete the diencephalon, you should draw those structures. Also, write that here should be optic nerves and chiasma, right? You have beautiful eyes, optic nerves, optic chiasma, right? And here was, what was this? Optic tract. Is that right? Now it becomes really complete components of diencephalon. Is that right? Again, the best way to talk about diencephalon is, or imagine the diencephalon is in relation to dorsal thalami. Now onward in the lecture, I will be calling dorsal thalami just thalamus. Is that right? But whenever I speak thalamus, it means I'm talking about dorsal thalamus. Again, whenever you talk about diencephalon, structures behind the thalami are epithalamus, under the thalami are subthalamus, inferior to, what is this? Thalami are hypothalamus, and around that there is optic system. Is that right? Okay. Now let's go and discuss into detail thalamus. Now, thalamus is basically a mass of grey matter. And you must be knowing what is grey matter. Grey matter is collection of neuronal cell bodies. So it means thalamus is a very large collection of neuronal cell bodies. When we say that thalamus is a big grey matter mass, what is grey matter? Grey matter means collection of cell bodies of neurons. So it means both thalami are basically large collections of neuronal cell bodies, right? Now, if you really look to the thalamus, I will draw one thalamus here large. Suppose this is the right thalamus. Right? Now, when you draw the basic structure of thalamus, you know it's a grey matter mass. But within this grey matter has some relationship with the white matter. What is white matter? What is white matter? Collection of neuronal axons, right? So actually within this grey matter, first of all, within this grey matter, you find that there is Y-shaped white matter lamina. What does it mean? That this area, this Y shape, there are only, what are these? White matter. White matter means that these are all nerve. Yes, these are all neuronal axons. Is that right? So, if you make a section of the thalamus, you will find that there is an internal medullary lamina. What is internal? Y-shaped internal medullary lamina. What is internal medullary lamina? It is made of white matter. What is white matter? It is actually consisting of neuronal axons, collection of axons. Actually, now, so this is internal medullary lamina, and this internal medullary lamina divides the major part of the thalamus into three areas: medial side, anterior side, lateral side. So this divides the thalamus into all thalamic grey matter into, what is this? Medial thalamus, right? And here there should be, yes, anterior thalamus. And what should be here? Yes, lateral thalamus. So we will draw here lateral thalamus. Now, lateral thalamus is further divided. Again, thalamus is a large mass of gray matter divided by internal medullary lamina into three major gray matter masses, or three major group of gray matters. One is medial, which is called medial thalamus. Other is anterior thalamus, and then there is lateral thalamus. This is the right thalamus, of course, I'm drawing. Is that right? And this lateral thalamus is further divided into ventral area and dorsal area. Lateral thalamus is divided into ventral part and dorsal part. Right? Now I will draw the ventral part. The ventral part, okay, first I will draw the dorsal part, right? And if I draw the dorsal part, yes. So this is out of the lateral thalamus. What is this part? Dorsal. And out of the lateral thalamus, here we will put which part? Okay, I will put a different color here so that you don't confuse. Is that right? So this is dorsal. And now in dorsal part of the lateral thalamus, there are many nuclei. There are many nuclei. And in the ventral part of lateral thalamus, there are also many nuclei. Is that right? So this nuclear group, which is present over here, this is called dorsal tire nuclei. There are multiple nuclei in this area, and these are called dorsal tire nuclei. And within this, what was this? Right, there are multiple nuclei here, and these nuclei are called ventral tire nuclei. Is that right? Any problem up to this? Then this beautiful structure you call thalamus has some additional masses of gray matter also. This is the basic structure, right? So I will draw it again and I will see if you remember this much. Then I will add more nuclei to that. I will go into detailed structure. Now I'm going to draw the both thalami. Is that right? Now, first of all, what is this? Internal medullary lamina. Right? This was consisting mainly of white matter. And from where this white matter is originating? Actually, in this lamina, there are the neuronal fibers which are connecting different nuclei with each other. For example, these nuclear group, they are just collection of cell bodies. From here, the fibers are going to internal lamina, and for example, from here they go to this area or to the other area. So basically, what is the function of internal medullary lamina? This consists of those neuronal fibers, right, which are actually produced by interconnections within the thalamus from one nuclear group to other nuclear group. It means thalamic nuclei are connected with each other through special neuronal cables, and those bundles of cables are making internal medullary lamina. They are making internal medullary lamina. Is that right? And it reminds me another thing when I'm talking about internal medullary lamina, that thalamus has special covers of white matter also. Again, let's come here. This is the right thalamus. This is what? Internal medullary lamina. But there is a special white matter cover at the top of thalamus. There is a special white matter cover at the top of thalamus. This sheet of white matter, this cover of white matter, which is at the top of thalamus, it is called, yes, stratum zonale. What is it called? Stratum zonale. What is stratum zonale? This is white matter which is outside the thalamus. Actually, it is a sheet of white matter, cover of white matter at the top of thalamus. And this is called stratum zonale. Is that right? And then outside and on the lateral there is another white matter cover on the lateral side of the thalamus. There is a white matter sheet on the lateral side of the thalami also. What is this called? External medullary lamina. What is it called? External medullary lamina. Am I clear? There is no problem into this. So 3 white matter sheets I discussed in relation to the thalamus. That at the top of thalamus there is stratum zonale, on the lateral side of thalamus there is external medullary lamina. If you remove these 2 structures and you cut the thalamus, within the thalamus you find internal medullary lamina. No problem? Now, you will tell me what are these structures. We have already discussed it. Yes, this mass of grey matter. What is it? Medial thalamus. Right? And what is this? It is very good. It is again medial thalamus of the left side. Right? Yes. What is this major part of the thalamus? Anterior thalamus. And yes, what is it? Very good. Anterior thalamus. Right? Then what is it? Total? Yes, lateral thalamus. And what should be here? Very good. Lateral thalamus. Is that right? Then lateral thalamus is again divided into ventral area and dorsal area. So we'll draw the dorsal area of yes, what is it? Dorsal area of the lateral thalamus. And the multiple nuclei which are present here, these are called dorsal tear nuclei. Dorsal tear nuclei. Then you will come, of course, will make also dorsal here. Right? And then What is this group of nuclei? Ventral tire nuclei. Ventral, right? Any question up to this? Now a little more, we go advance. Actually, within internal, what is this? Internal medullary lamina. Of course, this is sheet of white matter, but within this, there are collections of gray matter. There are small collections of gray matter, right, within the... Now, these collections of gray matter, which is within the internal medullary lamina. These small collections of gray matter as a group are called, yes, internal laminar nuclei. Right? What are they called? They are called internal laminar nuclei. No problem up to this? Right? Internal laminar nuclei. Then, in between the thalami, there's a little gray matter. From the both thalami, they come in touch with each other. We also call it interthalamic adhesion. What we call it? Interthalamic adhesions. Right? And there are some nuclei into that also, because this is also gray matter. Right? Then, on the lateral thalamus, but little bit postero-inferior area, there are very large, not very large, moderately large, but very important, I must say, masses of gray matter here. Yes, what is it? Lateral geniculate body connected with the visual system. Right? What is this? Lateral geniculate body connected with the visual system. And here there is medial geniculate body connected with the auditory system. And medial geniculate body which is connected with the auditory pathway. Is that right? Any question up to here? Really, there is no. Then, it's not all. Nature had put some very special, you can say, nuclei, and these very special nuclei are present actually just little bit outside the thalamus, but they are intimately related with thalamus. I told you at the top of thalamus there is stratum zonale, and laterally there is external medullary lamina. Between the thalamus and, okay, outside the thalamus there is external medullary lamina. More outside the external medullary lamina, there is a very special type of nucleus over there, and that nucleus is and of course that is present on other side. This is again a sheet of gray matter. Is that right? Now, this is also considered thalamic nucleus, right? But it is external to the external medullary lamina. Is that right? What is the name of this nucleus? Pardon? You're telling me the things which I never heard. Cowrie nucleus. Caudate nucleus, oh my God. Caudate nucleus has nothing, caudate nucleus is not part of thalamus. Caudate nucleus is part of basal ganglia. We'll talk about that later. But right now I learned that you need some explanation that in relation to the thalamus, where is caudate, where is lentiform, where is internal capsule? Are you people clear about that area or not? Again, are you people clear that in relation to thalamus, where is caudate nucleus, where is internal capsule, where is lentiform nucleus, including putamen and pallidus, or you don't know? You don't know. You want to know or you don't want to know? Okay, just after a few minutes I will go to that area so that next time you don't put caudate within the thalamic nuclei. So, what is this? This is called, before you tell me another name, it is reticular nucleus. What is it? Reticular nucleus. Reticular nucleus. Right? So these are the important nuclear groups which you are supposed to study in relation to thalamus. Is that right? Now, before I really go into detail of these nuclei, I would love to put a concept in your mind. What are the important structures around the thalamus? Of course, you already know some structures like, there's hypothalamus, there's epithalamus, there's subthalamus, isn't it? But there are some more important structures in relation to thalamus. So I will explain that first. Then I will come back to these nuclei, their connections and their functions. Any question up to this? There's no question. Basically, now I'm going to explain the anatomical relationship in the structures at the base of brain.